Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to another weekend edition here of the PondCast. The PondCast, episode number 104, your weekly dose of all things StarCraft. I'm Coach SIVIP, with me and joined by Kura, handling the production side of things, and of course by lovely people in the chat as well. Welcome, everyone, one and all, to our weekly StarCraft and StarCraft news adjacent talk show, or at least news wrap-up show. Let's go. Let's jump on in. As it's been a busy week. It's been a busy week here when it comes to announcements, when it comes to some news, of course. The first big one, which we actually already spoke about. We spoke about this during the previous cast, actually, the last two casts, looking back on it, but that is the new proposed balance changes. So first things first, Solar, he did actually type on this. I believe this was on the Soup platform, if I'm not mistaken, but Solar, his words were screenshotted, and did allude to the idea of having some knowledge about an upcoming patch post BlizzCon, bearing in mind that BlizzCon is in September next month. Again, BlizzCon is right around the corner. BlizzCon is going to be September 13th, if I recall correctly. So mid next month, and if you recall, one of the big concerns that I had when it comes to the patching is how close we were to BlizzCon, and the idea of us running out of patches and the patches stopping once we get close enough to BlizzCon, and that's kind of where we'd be stuck at, right? That was my concern, is that we were kind of running out of time because BlizzCon was looming upon us, and we just didn't have the time it would take to keep iterating on the game. That was my big concern for the past month, if you recall. And here we do have Solar expressing that, at least according to news that he has heard internally, I would imagine, there is going to be an upcoming patch post-BlizzCon that will be changing the worker count once again. Bearing in mind that the wording here is that it would be changed, and we don't know, and he doesn't know either, whether it's going to go back to 12, if it's going to go up to like 16, if it's going to go down to like 6, if it's going to go to like 10. We don't really know what's going to happen when it comes to that worker count change, but again, this is just news that we're hearing from Solar. Again, whether there's any kind of weight behind this, I mean, Solar's not the kind of person to just say things just to say things, so I would say that Solar has heard this from someone probably reputable within Blizzard, or maybe someone like at Soup or someone at GSL, and they were then notified by Blizzard because they're a tournament organizer. Then that was kind of dropped down to Solar. That could make sense, especially considering Solar has been casting for GSL, if you remember. Solar, he was casting the GSL like finals and the final playoff days, if you recall, in Korean. So I would assume that maybe that's where it came from, or maybe some other connections. What I would say, though, and to add like a little bit of to just make sure everyone is aware of this, is that this might be something that's being told by someone who's in the know, but things do change over time. Things can change, and it's possible that maybe by the time that BlizzCon comes around and we've had more testing, and then we come around to a patch being revealed and being showcased and launching, maybe by then they decide they don't want to touch the workers, but they still change other things, right? Like maybe the patch arrives but doesn't arrive in the same way that we are being told here, or maybe it does. Like, it's still, I mean, again, things happen, things can change within this time period and the time of the patch itself, but I think there's a very high chance that we're going to get a patch regardless, whether it does change workers or not. I should also mention that it isn't just a patch that's going to be changing workers. Apparently there's going to be a big overhaul. We can't really dig too deep into what that phrase means, outside of the fact that it sounds like it's going to be a bigger patch with a lot more changes, hopefully with a lot more time, effort, and resources put into the patch itself. So yeah, that's exciting. That's definitely exciting to hear. Again, we already spoke about this previously during some of the other casts. What I will say about this is that it is a shame. I mean, I say it's a shame. It makes sense because there's an event at BlizzCon, and they do want the game to settle and stabilize in whatever fashion it's going to stabilize in, for BlizzCon, because it's going to be, on a big stage, and it's going to be revealed to a plethora of people, to people that aren't even currently watching StarCraft right now, to a greater Blizzard audience, so that they don't want to touch the game. It's a shame that we have to wait that long, right? If you recall, I assumed there was going to be a patch this week. Right, like that was my assumption before this news came out. I was like, there's probably going to be another hotfix patch this week, like on Tuesday or something. And then we hear, sounds like they're probably not going to hotfix anything until post BlizzCon. So that's kind of where we are at the moment when it comes to the current phase or the current iteration of the current patch here. It's a bit of a shame. Personally, I would say that right now the patch is not in a good place. I've been vocal about this. I don't really like where the meta is right now. I think if people are saying, if there's anyone like, when it comes to the work account change, the work account change is like, I don't think there's a single pro player or person in the scene that thinks it's a good thing. I think the best you're gonna get is there are a couple of pro players that are neutral to it. They're just neutral, but I don't think anyone likes the change so far. It has been mainly a negative thing to the game, and on top of that, I would say it has negatively impacted the meta for almost every matchup for ZVP, ZVT, and TVZ as well. I would say that all matchups have like suffered when it comes to the patch itself, when it comes to the meta. Personally, I'm not really enjoying the meta right now. If you see anyone say like, oh, just let players figure things out or anything like that, they already have. If anyone's saying that, they just don't watch StarCraft. Like they just don't watch enough StarCraft. The meta has stabilized. Like players, like at this point, we already have like a meta as to a correct way to play in the current patch. We spoke about this previously. PvZ right now is very 2020. It's either Protoss players all in or Protoss players sky toss. That's it. That's all it is. For TVZ, it's very similar, where Terran players are being hyper aggressive, and they're borderline all in, and it leads to some fun games and fun interactions, but it's also very it's like Terran's like a glass cannon right now in TVZ. And when it comes to the other matchups as well, like the mirror matchups, there's also a lot of issues there when it comes to early game aggression and hyper aggression in the early game as well. But the meta has at this point stabilized when it comes to these matchups, I don't think it's in the best place at the moment. I glossed over TVP. TVP is also, I would say, in a really rough place. The issue with TVP is that they didn't address the issues of it. They didn't address mid to late game Protoss strength, especially on larger maps. They didn't that issue was not addressed. Likewise, because of that, we just see a lot of Terran aggression in the early to mid game. A lot of Terran aggression, a lot of Terran all-ins as well. They even buffed Colossus, even though right now the issue is like gateway aggression in PvT. Like so it's right now each matchup is in a really rough place, and I mean it's going to be addressed, right? Otherwise it wouldn't be working on a patch, but it'll take some time. It'll take some time, unfortunately. Personally, I'm not really too fond of the meta right now. That's why we're cutting back some of the casting that we're doing just to take a bit of a break. But post BlizzCon, when/if the patch hits, then we'll go like full force back into it, of course. But until then, we're taking a bit of a step back. So maybe new units? No, I wouldn't. I would not expect new units. No. I would not expect that much. Sorry. No, maybe. Sorry, I almost misspoke. I said that I will not expect that much work to be put into the game. But remember, if you watch the CranKy Ducklings, if you watch the PondCast, then you would know that NetEase have been working on that idea. I guess now would be a good time to bring that up because it might be related. True, it might be related. For those who haven't been watching the PondCast and are unaware of the news in StarCraft, NetEase, who acquired the licensing of Blizzard games over in China, they have gotten developers on to work on StarCraft. Like there are actively developers working on StarCraft right now on the Chinese client and the Chinese version of the game. If you remember, this was announced and revealed last year when we had the big arcade bug, and it is the Chinese developers that actually fixed that fixed that on their end first, and the fix was live on the Chinese client first before it went live to the international version. And if you remember, NetEase and SE Boy, they did do a poll. This was at the beginning of the year, like around January, February, at the beginning of the year. They did release a poll to Chinese fans and Chinese StarCraft viewers whether or not they would want a rotating seasonal cycle of new units. And we spoke about this when it was announced. They were flirting with the idea of what they would do is each season of StarCraft, each ladder season, they would introduce a new unit, but it would only be there for the season. So maybe they add the Leviathan to the game. Maybe they add the Diamondback, right, to the game. I say add to the game. These are units that are already in co-op and they're already in the campaign, so they're already like models and units that exist in the game itself. So they're not creating any new assets. They're using assets that are already within the game itself. But of course, they're balancing the units for multiplayer usage. But they were flirting with the idea of introducing like a Leviathan, a Diamondback, a Dragoon, for example. I was trying to think of a Protoss unit.
I just trying to imagine. Oh yeah, we're just introducing Leviathan to the game. Don't worry about it. It like takes half the screen.
Like, or like to turn it back, like a Guardian, right? A Guardian exists in co-op.
I just like how you straight went to Leviathan.
A Guardian, or like an infested tank, like a Stukov infested tank unit or something, for Zerg. And the idea of pushing that live into the StarCraft ladder, into the competitive scene, only for a season, and then when the season ends, new unit. You just replace it, and you rotate. You rotate between a bunch of different units from season to season to season. And of course, this wouldn't just be on the ladder. This would also be in custom competitive games as well. So if you remember, this was floated around at the start of the year. And I remember that the SC Boy team, they really wanted it. They were pushing it quite hard. And of course, NetEase are they have a really close relationship with SC Boy. So touching on what was said earlier in the chat about introducing new units, that there is a possibility, because we have precedent, because there was already discussion and already polls made from NetEase and from SC Boy regarding that. So I don't know what the results were from that polling. I don't know if that was made public, so that I can't speak on, but that polling was done, and those ideas were being floated, specifically not because Blizzard would be working on it, but because NetEase would be working on it, because they have their own, not just StarCraft developers, but I believe they also have some Diablo developers and World of Warcraft developers as well. Like they brought on their own dev teams to actively work on these games as well. And to work on that, specifically on the Chinese version of the game, the assumption is that if the Chinese version is going to get updated, that will eventually translate to the international version as well. Like that's the idea. Right here first, is they're going to get Leviathan. I mean, again, like, as you mentioned, if this is done, it'd be using units that already exist in the game, and the Leviathan exists in co-op. Like that's what I mean. So they wouldn't create like another unit from scratch. Like if they were to do this, they'd most likely take units from co-op and from the campaign.
Yeah, it's just said that would be basically be a Zerg mothership, right?
Yeah, pretty much. And they can make it however they want. And the reason as to why it would be seasonal is because if something is imbalanced, and if something, like, they don't have to balance it perfectly, because if it is a little bit broken, it's only going to last a season. Like you just rotate it out, right? You just rotate it out, and then you can iterate it again or work on it, like, in the meantime, like while it's offline, like while the unit's offline, then you can like tweak it, work on it, and then you can reintroduce it like in another like 6 months or something, maybe in a better state. But that's the advantage of it being a rotating system, is that if something isn't really working, or if something is a little bit too good, then let it be too good for a season of StarCraft, whether that's like 3 months, 4 months, however long that happens to be. But yeah, so I don't want to say that's confirmed though, because I don't know what the results were of the polling data, right? I don't know if that ended up having any weight, and how that impacted NetEase and their decision making as well. But all of this has been known for like 7 months at this point. But so it would make sense that if we do get like a quote unquote big patch, it's possible that the reason why like the patch that we're currently on, and the hotfixing that we've been getting, and how it's been like very shaky and very wonky and stuff, this is done by like the classics team. It's possible that this entire time the Chinese team has been working on their own patch, and they've got until like end of BlizzCon to get it ready to go live, and that's what this is. Not confirming that, but like it wouldn't surprise me if that's what this is if this entire time the Chinese team has been working on a patch. And that's gonna be what's revealed, and that's why it's like a quote unquote like big overhaul, or like a big patch, which is hard to envision the same classics team that are releasing these hotfixes are at the same time going to release a big patch like in a month and a half or 2 months. Like, it sounds hard to envision that, which is why it makes more sense in my mind if it's a different team. If a different team is working on the potential upcoming patch after BlizzCon, and it's most likely the NetEase team if that's the case. So that would all make a little bit more sense. But technically, still speculation. I would say where this all comes from has a lot of weight behind it. We know that there are StarCraft developers in China. We know that they were hired by NetEase. We know that they're working on the game. We know that Solar is not the kind of person that just says this sort of stuff out of nowhere. We know that he probably heard it from a reliable source. Once again, just because someone who's ingrained in the scene a little bit more, maybe working at Blizzard or has a connection to Blizzard, said that to Solar, doesn't mean that things can't change from now until BlizzCon. Things can, of course, change. You know, things are moving all at once. But you know, there's like a foundation as to where some of this speculation comes from. Just as a heads up. But yeah, so interesting news. Again, the worst part is that we have to wait until October until that happens. So we're kind of stuck on this patch until October. But yeah. Hopefully it bears fruit. Hopefully something good is on the horizon here, because right now I would say it's not just us, but right now a lot of people are very doomer about StarCraft. Like right now, a lot of people are not enjoying themselves. A lot of players aren't enjoying themselves. Like as a caster, like I've seen that a lot. A lot of the players, like Hero, Hero's not having a good time. Players like Bjorn, like players like Shin, like a lot of the Koreans are not enjoying StarCraft right now, and Europeans as well. Of course, like people like Clem have been very vocal about that, and some of the others. So yeah, so at least there's a light at the end of the tunnel potentially, right? I guess we got to add that caveat. So that's the first big piece of news.
Workers start, and then
true.
We add Warhound, and we remove Helions.
Yes, yeah. Then we remove the Queen, but then we add the Queen.
Yeah, but the Brood War one. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah. No. Up next, when it comes on next piece of news, we do have Wikipedia. It is that time of the month when the top contributors are given a bit of a shout out, of course. Once again, we do have Cynical as number 1, Kashim is number 2, we have Hyper 1 is number 3. That's a little bit surprising to me. We have Hipa, HJ Alpha is number 4, Ethan Chung is number 5, and then we have Kuro as number 6, just barely outside of the top 5. There we see Kuro, we see Bukun, Konyak. I'm at number 50. I made it. Top 20.
I just want to say I'm glad to see Kashim back at the top, because I was concerned for him when he was falling to like place 6 or something like that. Something is not right with Kashim. He's not like right at the top there.
Yeah, for sure. Yo, Gyozing Rebellion's there.
Yeah,
look at number 18. What's he working on? Is maybe like some SEVO stuff? The thing is that usually it's Hyper 1. Like, that's also why I'm surprised that Hyper 1 is up there. Like, especially because Hyper 1 is toning down his events. But I guess it's July. So I think the ladder invitational was in July. True, the SEL ladder invitational. So I think that's probably what what pushed Hyper 1 up there to top 3. But yeah, I'm curious what Rebellion was updating. Maybe some of the Chijik events. Maybe. And Boreao is there as well. I'm curious as to what. No, I think Boreao, he does the he might do the Insane Master Killer stuff. I don't know. Maybe. Just trying to think. But regardless, shout out to the top contributors
I saw Boreao helping out with the amateur stuff, the amateur league tournaments. I think trying to get them on Wikipedia or something.
Okay.
I'm not quite sure, but I think I've seen him like asking questions in the Discord.
If so, it's cool to see. It's very cool to see, and really cool to see a new face in the top 20. New faces with Boreao and with Rebellion. Let's go. Let us go. So again, well, actually, before glossing over it, if you want to contribute to StarCraft in some way outside of just watching, if you want to take it one step further to be a little bit more active when it comes to the contribution scene, then Wikipedia is a way to do that. So where you can help update tournaments, or if you have some data on players, if you want to just help tidy things up as well, like there is a lot that can be done when it comes to contributing on the StarCraft Wikipedia page. For sure. For example, like for as a, like a minor thing, like what I used to do, especially when we were doing the birthday stuff, is like going through and like updating all like the players' socials, right? Like Instagram, like Facebook, like stuff like that, for example, or updating like birthdays, or I don't know, like if there's something that I'm sure depending on your preferred StarCraft, I'm sure there's something that you can find to contribute as well that you can add, of course, to the Wikipedia. But with that, that does lead us over into Archon Studios. Now, Archon Studios, if you recall, we have provided a couple of updates here and there. They've also provided them as well when it comes to the StarCraft Miniatures game. If you recall, they did initially reveal a roadmap when it comes to when the release dates and the next waves of releases as well. And we should actually, I believe, according to that roadmap, we should already be releasing Wave 2 at this point. But when it comes to the StarCraft Miniatures game, there have been a lot of delays. There have been a lot of delays when it comes to StarCraft Miniatures game. We did already speak on this last time there was an AMA in reference to just the amount of orders that they received, just the fact that they had to fill up and then evacuate their warehouse like 5 different times. That's just how many orders they had and how much they had to produce, of course, in their warehouse in Poland. It's all done in-house, of course, when it comes to their production, when it comes to their shipping, when it comes to just everything involved. I think they even had to rent out another warehouse as well, just because they were just flooded with so much. But it wasn't just that delayed orders. They went a little bit more into detail here, and it makes sense just because they've been receiving a lot of flack. There's been, as you can imagine, when it comes to people online, they've been receiving a lot of flack, a lot of hate, a lot of personal attacks, a lot has been levied at Archon Studios because of how delayed the initial release has been. They went a little bit more into detail as to why there's been so many delays. One of them, of course, when it comes to shipping to the US, is the US tariffs and how unstable and how inconsistent they've been. So shipping to the US was was more complicated than what it usually is. On top of that, because of the war in Ukraine, that was also impacting when it comes to shipping routes, when it comes to transport. Likewise, when it comes to oil prices, I'm sure everyone is aware of this, especially in recent months. But that also did affect trucking. It affected shipping. It affected costs. Like everything was affected when it comes to trying to receive goods, trying to get product, trying to get resources to actually make things, and also to send everything out as well. And they did go into greater detail as to all of that in their most recent AMA as to why there's been so many delays when it comes to the StarCraft Miniatures game. We already announced, I think it was last week or the week before that, they've already shipped everything out. Like everything has been shipped out when it comes to all of their orders, when it comes to all the pre-orders, and when it comes to all of the retail stock as well of the models. That's been shipped out from their production line, from their warehouse. But and they also released and they also showed dates and tracking numbers for containers. Everything is either already in said designated countries, or they're en route to the US, to Australia, to other parts of Europe as well. They were very transparent about that. Like they released all the container tracking numbers and all that stuff, just so you can see all of that. I believe a lot of places in the US and in Europe have already received a lot of their product, but it's still coming. Like a lot of it's still coming, still being shipped out. They have estimated dates. Unfortunately for me, from Australia, we're gonna and again there were a lot of issues when it comes to them trying to send things to Australia as well. A lot of delays in that respect. Because of that, Australian and basically Oceania, so the Oceania region, ANZ, we're going to receive it later than everyone else, much later actually. So I think mid-July should be when people started receiving their orders and receiving their miniatures. Sorry, I should say mid-July is when the local distribution centers would start receiving them to start sending out to people, and that's why some people, depending on your region, have already received your miniatures. But Australia, we won't get it until September. So that's pretty brutal. Australia, we will not. I believe again, like the containers are currently en route. They're currently like in the middle of the ocean. I think it takes like 3 weeks to get here, to get to our like distribution centers, then to be sent out from there. So if you're in Australia, New Zealand, and Samoa, and the Pacific, and Oceania in general, then you probably won't be receiving yours until early September. At the earliest, most likely like mid to late September. And they did apologize regarding that. Like there's again not much that can be done just because again of outside factors affecting their own production and ability to send stuff out. So that is a bit of a shame. Because of this, of course, like because of this, have obviously like pushed back and restructured their schedule for Wave 2 and Wave 3 of releases, of course, just to make sure that they're able to send out all of the initial release, and clean and tidy all of that up. Which they are in the process of doing. And again, when it comes to the AMA, they did go into greater detail as to all of this, as to why there were all these delays, as to a little bit more into detail when it comes to their warehousing, when it comes to everything that was going on, where there was just a lot of external factors, but not only external, there were some internal factors as well, when it comes to just the amount of orders that they received. Like I open up with that. I should emphasize that as well. They had certain expectations when it comes to orders, just because they were tracking pre-orders essentially. But apparently, something that they did that they're probably going to change moving forward is that the business to business orders, so orders from like retail and orders from main businesses and stores, didn't come in until the very end, and then that like hit them really hard like that. So their expectations were way off when it comes to and this is like the biggest like release that they've had. And we mentioned this like 2 weeks ago, how because of all this, like they're working on constructing a new warehouse, a much larger warehouse for this kind of capacity, and the company's growing, which is a good thing. But yeah, definitely some challenges were had with this StarCraft release. But again, they've been very transparent about everything. Like they're releasing these regular AMAs, trying to address everyone's concerns. And on top of that, they have also released the new trailer of Wave 2. Wave 2 of releases when it comes to the miniatures game. Once again, just to emphasize, they're going to be, even though they have this ready to go, they're going to be waiting until everyone has their first wave of release items first, and then they'll be getting ready the second wave, and shipping that out, of course, to retailers, to distributors, and that is going to be the tank. So the Siege tank is going to be the next Terran unit coming out for the miniatures game. The Immortal is going to be the next Protoss unit coming out, and the Ravager is going to be the next Zerg unit coming out. So they already did release the trailer regarding this. In the AMAs, they showed off the models, like unpainted, painted. They showed them in their cells, and honestly, it looks really cool. It looks really good. I'm loving how they are utilizing the shield effect on Protoss units. It isn't just on the Immortal, but they did it with the Zealots and with the Stalker as well, how you can attach like broken or like activated shields on them, and it looks pretty sick. It looks pretty sick. It looks very sick, I should say. So I'm loving how they've kind of brought these units to life when it comes to the miniatures game. They're also releasing Zeratul. If you remember, Zeratul was already released. They had the pre-order, like pre-release, like limited edition Zeratul, which they released last year, which was already sent out, of course. And this is like the quote-unquote like basic or the retail version of Zeratul, which works the same way, just a different model, right? Different model. So there's the pre-release model, which is like the limited edition, like collector's one, and then this is the regular edition one that's now being released in Wave 2.
Important thing to point out is that the one that's released now also includes like special cards for the character and stuff, and they don't sell those cards separately, but like I guess you will be able to access all the rules digitally, so you still have access to it. But this box includes also all the cards and everything.
Yeah. So they're also going to be releasing Zeratul, again, the regular base version of Zeratul as well. I also love that when it comes to the Ravager, like they have a specific like bile like tokens, like so you can basically bile at certain locations, then the next turn they land, so you can like maneuver and you force micro out of your opponent as well, which is really sick. But yeah, the models themselves, of course, are very good. But again, the Wave 2 won't be released until all of Wave 1 or the initial release is fully sent out. And then we'll get into Wave 2 and then Wave 3. And when it comes to future waves, you already know that like a Raven is on the horizon, for example. Like they've already spoken on that. and other units as well. That was already released in their roadmap, if you recall, and they're going to be sticking to that, just adjusting all the dates as well. Adjusting all those changes. People don't know tariffs were not 10%. If you want specifics, and I recommend just reading the AMA or watching the AMA, depending on the kind of product that you're sending, and I believe the size as well, tariffs actually went up 100% for certain things, for certain items, which affected how they were going to be sending containers and how they were going to be shipping, depending on the quantity. So it's more than that. Like I say more than that. The issue was just like it was very unstable because the tariffs kept changing. It was very inconsistent. The inconsistency was the big issue because it was affecting like how much money they were going to spend or how they wanted to ship things if the prices were changing from week to week or from day to day.
Basically, they were saying how like, you know, they ship a product and like by the time the product arrives, like it may have completely different like tariff on it. And it's like constantly changing to the point where like the people, like the officials they are asking are not able to give them a straight answer. So like they literally have no idea like what's gonna happen by the time they ship it.
Yes, it's the instability of that is also what caused delays as well when it comes to how much it's going to cost to send a shipment on one way via ship or via plane, or the size of the container, how that affects it. Like basically all these different parameters and variables would affect the kind of tariffs levied on what was being sent, and there was no kind of like fixed rate on anything because it was fluctuating so much. So that's more of what the issue was. But again, I do recommend checking out the AMA in regards to greater detail as to what impacted and what influenced all the delays in regards to the StarCraft Miniatures game shipping. So I do recommend checking it out, especially because there's a lot of other tidbits and really interesting information in regards to the company, in regards to how they operate and other things as well. So yeah, it's really cool. They were of course also showing off the models themselves.
Also, I do want to point out that because originally when the miniatures were first announced, there were a lot. I don't want to say there was a bunch of people complaining of how everything is so expensive, and then like the studio finds the best way they could to like minimize like the shipping prices and stuff, and like they pay for like a lot of the tax related stuff, like the tariffs and stuff. And then people complain that everything is taking so long because they were trying to find the least expensive way to get it to people.
Yeah, I think the people. I also think the people that were calling it too expensive are people that also don't play or don't get into miniatures games. I think the price, it is an expensive hobby, and I think because this is tapping into maybe a market of people that aren't into this hobby to begin with, like that might be a little bit surprising. But I remember like comparing prices, and this is so much cheaper compared to Warhammer. And I remember bringing this up, and people would be upset because they'd be like, "Why are you comparing it to Warhammer?" Well, it's like I'm comparing it to Warhammer because it's the biggest IP in the market. They're not just the biggest; they're the most popular. Like, as in, that's kind of what the majority of people are spending their money on in when it comes to war games or miniatures games is Warhammer. So like I feel like that's still an apt comparison. But in comparison to Warhammer, it's much cheaper. Depending on where you are, to be fair, because again, like when it comes to like Australian shipping, like that does ramp up the price a lot more, specifically for AU. Yeah, I think a lot of that was just because these were people that were not necessarily into miniatures or wargaming to begin with, and that price tag was something that was maybe a little bit more eye-opening to them, despite the fact that it is cheaper than like the other big like IPs in the market. Not just like Warhammer, but like compared to like Vanguard and some of these other ones. So yeah, interesting. And obviously you can tell as well, like there was a lot of frustration from the Archon team when it comes to how people were acting.
I will say okay, so if you just want the information, watch the StarCraft AMA. It has everything in there. But the AMA before, the day before, the main guy, he said he had a headache, but like he was actually ranting a bit more, and you know, I feel like usually what is his name? Usually Simon is there to like kind of limit him. It's like, it's okay, you know, we can move on to the next topic. But that day he was upset, And he would just keep
Yeah.
talking about how everything is so frustrating because this person is doing this and this person and this country does this, and like he was just so frustrated because he just wants to ship the thing and like everything is just problematic.
Yeah, I think what's important is, again, like everything's already been shipped out, like it's all been done, but yeah, definitely you can sense the frustrations from the Archon team when it comes to dealing with some of these issues, but also from people's reactions as well to that. So understandable. But regardless, again, we're getting them soon. Here in Australia, we're getting it later than everyone else, which is a bit of a shame, but we're used to waiting, Pappy. We're used to it. Smerge feels bad.
I would say that is generally the sentiment I read online, like where like a lot of people are like, yeah, we have to wait for this, and then there are Australians like, yeah, nah, that's normal. Nah, yeah, we're used to this.
It is. It's very,
like every thread like on Reddit or everything, there's like somebody from Australia. No, yeah, guys, this is just welcome to the club.
Yeah. Feels bad, man. Up next, after that, and again, when you want further details, as I mentioned before, they've already released the shipping container numbers as well, so you can track them if you wish when it comes to when they get to your country. Bearing in mind that when the containers get to the country, then they get sent to the distribution center, then it gets sent from the local distributors to different regions, different states, and then eventually to yourself. It does take time for that to happen, of course, but container numbers have been revealed, and like estimated time of arrivals have been like sent out as well. As we mentioned, Australia would be like mid-September. We'll be getting it the latest. Meanwhile, the US of A, like I think you're already getting it basically like mid to late July, already receiving it. Europe already received as well, and other areas. So that has been happening. Up next, we do have SC for All. SC for All here, the big event happening in the Americas. They're announcing their lineups here. They've been announcing players that are confirmed to go to the event. Again, this is a big event happening in Philadelphia in December 5th to 6th, 2-day event over in Philadelphia. If you recall, this is kind of like a collaboration between the SC Historian and between Cheeseadelphia. They've been running LANs in the Americas for many years, of course, but starting last year, they were able to collaborate with the SC Historian to create SC for All, and likewise, they're doing it here for the second year running, and they have some heavy hitters this time. Last time it was very NA focused. They did have some Europeans, of course, if you remember. They did have some Europeans like Geralt and Jumi travel over to SC for All. But now we have some Koreans. Some Koreans are coming. We have announced both Hero and Shin are going to be traveling to Philadelphia, traveling to the US to compete in SC for All. Hero is the best Protoss in the world. Shin is arguably the best Zerg player in Korea. Again, you can interchange between Shin, Rogue, and Solar, depending on the day, depending on the matchup. But Shin is one of the best Zergs in the world. He's also going to be there as well. That is huge. I hope that there's a nice balance of Koreans and Europeans. Like, if we got Hero and Shin, I feel like we gotta have like a Clem level player or like a Rainer or something, right? Like, again, you're getting the best pros in the world. We're gonna need some comparable Terran and Zerg as well. I mean, Shin is up there, don't get me wrong, but yeah, that's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy when it comes to invites. We also have confirmation as well that it is going to be 8 players announced. When it comes to the invites, is of course going to be local NA talent that's going to be traveling. But we have the first 2 players announced for the SC2 side of things. When it comes to the Brood War side of things, Artosis, who made it to the semifinals last time, has been announced, and Striker, who was the champion, if I recall. No, sorry, he was a grand finalist. Wait, wasn't he the champion? Am I forgetting? Am I crazy? Hold on. I remember he made it to the final. I remember he beat Artosis. But did he go down in Did he go down in the finals? This is some of the only Brood War that we casted. No, yeah, he did good. Oh, I went to the ace match. That's it. Gypsy one. So, Striker, he was the second place. He was the runner-up. He was runner-up of last year's SC for All. So he's also been announced to come in. I remember he was going Muta like every game. Like that's what I remember because we were casting it, and he was going like 2 base Muta like almost every single game, mixing in some Ling aggression as well. But I think that's the only Brood War that we've ever casted was the SC for All Brood War. But yeah, Striker's gonna be there. Toast is gonna be there. I'm sure they're gonna if they invite Striker, they're gonna invite Gypsy again, 100%, and hopefully some other American talents and maybe some international talent as well. Likewise, when it comes to the SE2 invites, we have 6 players left to be announced. I'm hoping that we do get some European representation as well. I mean, we had some Streamer Zone boys come over last time. High chance they come over again. But we'll see. I feel like the bar has been raised though. With Hero and Shin being announced, that's crazy. That's huge. Like those are some of the best players out there. So yeah, some big names, big invites, more to come. More to come. Up next, one of the last bits of news here is the Patches Patch Clash. The Patches Patch Clash Circuit Season 1 has been announced. For those that are unaware, Patches, he made his own mod a long time ago at this point, but he's been slowly working on his own mod. Not the most balanced of mods, but a very fun mod nonetheless. And he's even said it himself, like it's a very fun mod. A lot of risks have been taken, a lot of changes, a lot of quirky ideas, like 1 supply or 2 supply roaches. Sorry, was it 1 supply roaches? Like insanely low supply roaches, for example, for 2 supply even, for mass roach styles, going into. That's always what sticks in my mind. Well, some of the other changes, they changed the Ghost, they changed the High Templar, just everything's different in the Patches mod. And they typically run like weekly or monthly tournaments, like around monthly events in the Patches Patch mod. But a circuit has been announced. It looks like Patches is working with, I want to say he was collaborating with Death. That's true. There we go. So he's collaborating with Death, who's behind the Vespine GG site. They're going to be collaborating together here to run a full circuit. I believe we've also confirmed that Ruddy's going to be the main caster. He's going to be covering the monthlies into the grand finals as well. A site is being released to have some of the finer details, of course. There's a Mentorino page to help fund the event and a Ko-Fi as well. So really cool to see. The Patches Patch Clash growing as much as it is. I was not expecting a full circuit, but again, he's collaborating with Death, and they're going to be making a lot together. They're going to be working on that circuit together here. As I mentioned, again, it's a really fun mod. From my understanding, Green Earth has his own mod, which takes some ideas from the patch mod and his own ideas, and that's meant to be a little bit more like serious. But if you want to have a blast and have a fun time, then the Patches mod, it's there for it, for sure. It's crazy. If you remember, this is also where the force field change originated from this. How in the live version of the game, the force field, its time gets reduced by 50% with a bile. That originated here. This is where it all began. Same with the ghost change as well. Like a lot of the ghost changes, like also here as well, and some other ideas. Some crazy ideas, might I add. I want to say there's like some scaling upgrades. Like there's so many upgrades here. There's like a new zealot. That's it. There's something that I do like actually. There's a zealot upgrade. Now remember, the zealot upgrade which changes charge, where charge, instead of charging to a unit, you can charge to a location. So you can charge away. Basically, you can charge away from an army or charge into an army as well, but you can like target a location on the ground, not just a unit to charge. Like I think that's a really cool addition to make zealots a little bit more flexible with how they're used. What are some of the other changes that were made? Upgrades were added to the Reaper, so the Reaper can scale better in a longer game, basically to do more damage like buildings and stuff like that. So there's some Reaper upgrades. When it comes to Zerg, the Queen was changed. That's another really cool idea as well. I know that a lot of people have had issues with the Queen as a unit. But basically the Queen was nerfed to do less damage and to just be a little bit less useful. But the Queen was given an upgrade, or I say an upgrade, was given the ability, I think it's on Lair Tech, to turn into a Broodmother. And that Broodmother, like when it comes to its damage stats and when it comes to its damage and attacking utility, is actually stronger than what the Queen is now. So the base Queen is weaker than what we have now, but it can morph into a Broodmother, which is stronger. But it does cost extra resources, so then you can still have these like quote unquote like Broodmothers like as defensive units, but you don't just have that when you make a Queen to begin with. So that's like an extra step to get there. So there's like some fun ideas like that. some fun ideas. So yeah, do check it out. Do check it out. We might dabble in it a little bit here and there, depending on our schedule. Did mention we were scaling back StarCraft a little bit, but we might dip our toes once again into the patches mod. It's just very daunting, even as a caster. Like every time I cast, I have to have like the Google Doc open, just to like quickly like alt tab and like look something up to see what exactly an upgrade is doing or how things are different. Very daunting. But a fun take on StarCraft for sure. So do check it out. As that does wrap up our news here for the week. Up next, we do have the main two events that have been progressing. The first one is the Wardy TV Summer Cup 2026. I believe last time we had gone over the group stage, but looks like the playoffs have concluded. Here we go. When it comes to, oh right, I remember this. This was actually a couple of days ago. But here we had the playoffs. We had initially Percival versus Solar. They face off in our best of 5. Percival takes on Solar 3-1. A big win for Percival. If you've been watching Percival and taking note of him, he has been beating Solar on a much more regular basis over the past couple of months. I want to say even pre-patch. Yeah, yes, pre-patch GSL qualifiers. True. So even pre-patch, Percival, his TVZ has been improving quite heavily. Rogue takes on Cure 3-1. Cure's TVZ has been very hit and miss when it comes to his aggressive nature. I mean, in general, like TVZ is it's very high octane, it's very aggressive. But once again, once some of that momentum is taken away from the Terran, the game just ends. Like the Terran play just dies. So it's very intense, very difficult, very high octane. Rogue takes on Cure, Rogue takes on Percival, advancing on to the grand finals. Meanwhile, we have Shin. Shin takes down Cristiano 3-1. Yang Yakov takes on Byun 3-2. We have Yang Yakov. So, Jesus, that's not the first time, actually. If you remember, Yakov did take down Byun in the Sparkling Tunic Cup not too long ago either, alluding to this. But Yakov takes on Byun. Shin takes on Cristiano. We get all the ZVZs. Shin takes down Yang Yakov, and Shin takes down Rogue in the grand finals. GG, well played. Congratulations. Shin is going to be the Water TV Summer Cup champion for 2026. GG, well played. Again, a lot of ex-Zerg matchups are very rough at the moment. Hero didn't make it out of the group stage. Cure didn't make it to the semis. Percival got knocked out by Rogue. As we mentioned before, sorry, I was supposed to speak on this a little bit earlier in regards to the current meta, and we were talking about this when we were discussing the patch itself. But to put things into greater context here, so many people speak on balance without watching any games. They just look at tournament results and don't really speak on it. But as I mentioned, like right now, even if some of the results are like quote unquote even, it's important to be aware of what's happening in the games themselves. Like you might look at this and be like, oh, you know what, Rogue, he beat Cure, but Percival beat Solar, right? So like that's kind of even, isn't it? As I mentioned, like TVZ right now is very unstable. Like the meta is stable, but the games aren't. Right now, it's like as soon as the Terran player starts getting defended, as soon as the Zerg player starts to build up to 4 or 5 bases, they just snowball out of control and they just win the game. Cure, Percival, Clem, Beyond, like they're all struggling at the moment in said matchup, and they can still win games and they can still win series. And when it comes to the overall stats, it might still even be 50%. Same with PVZ as well. But what's happening in PVZ? Skytoss. We're seeing a lot of Void Ray into Skytoss rushes. We're seeing a lot of all-ins. Same with Terran. We're seeing a lot of all-ins from Terran in TVZ, and like even if the stats say like, oh, it's like a 50% win rate, like it doesn't. The games themselves aren't, I would say, healthy for StarCraft. Like what we're seeing, the current state of the game, the current meta, isn't really in a good place. Even if you're seeing like a back and forth between players, what's important is what's happening in the games themselves. And I feel like that's definitely like some context that a lot of people that speak on these games speak on like the balance or speak on the meta are lacking, which is a shame. Up next, we do have the RSL. The RSL is up next, the Rival StarCraft League. Here we have the playoffs also playing through. We had Serral. Serral takes on Shin 3-0. Serral takes on Clem 3-1. Serral does advance on to the upper bracket finals. Meanwhile, Rogue takes on Lambo 3-0. Rogue takes on Hero 3-0. And then Rogue makes it to the finals as well. Speaking of ZVZs, so we have the ZVZ in the Wardy finals. Here we have the ZVZ in the upper bracket finals as well between Serral and Rogue. We do see Shin. He knocks out Byun 3-1. Solar knocks out Lambo 3-1. and we still have a Protoss and a Terran player in the tournament. Can we stop the pure ZVZs? In these longer series, it's going to be difficult. I'll be honest. I do favor Shin over Hero. I do think that Clem can bring Solar down. Solar has been looking very messy right now in ZVT, more so than the other Zerg players. So I do think there is a chance for Clem to try to work his way through that lower bracket, but it's gonna be a tough one there. It's gonna. We'll see if we can stop the ZVZ like lower bracket finals and grand finals. We'll see if we can stop it. Oh boy. So best of luck to Hero, best of luck to Clem for at least some diversity in the tournament. Best of luck. But again, this was occurring over the weekend, and these upcoming matches will be this weekend as well in a couple of days' time. Up next we do have CranKy. The CranKy Season 4 playoffs did conclude. If you recall, we did cover this. This is a StarCraft Evolution tournament, SC Evo, not regular SE2. This was a team league that we did cover here on the channel. So far, we are still the only English casters that covered this event, of course. Well, the main cast is covering it via replays, but covering it nonetheless. The the lower bracket finals was Team Liquid versus CRHB. Here, Team Liquid, they took down CRHB 4-3. It was a big win here for Team Liquid. Laser took down Solar. They knocked each other out 1-1. We had Cure and Hero knocking each other out. We had Clement Classic knocking each other out, and it all came down to a Laser. I remember being shocked at a Laser being the ace player, but throughout the course of the playoffs, I started to respect that Laser pick a lot more. Team Liquid, they did rely on a Laser quite heavily in this event, and we found out why. Like, he was hyper aggressive. A lot of all-ins. A lot of Hydra all-ins, a lot of Lurker all-ins as well. But Laser, he was very, very aggressive, and he does take down Classic 2-0 to advance on to the grand finals. I was expecting CRHB to make it to the finals, but no, Team Liquid knocked them down. They put in a lot of work, a lot of efforts. Cure and a Laser, and even Clem was looking better towards the end as well. Clem was looking very rough in the group stage, but in the playoffs, you could tell that Clem was actually practicing and putting effort into SC Evo. So Clem became less of a liability when it came to the playoffs. Coming into the grand finals, it was Onside versus Team Liquid, and we saw that Onside had that stronger showing here. Zaun, the first series set the tone, because I feel like Cure, he's favored. He should be favored against Zaun, and Team Liquid, they needed Cure to start a win streak. For Zaun to 2-0 Cure, that was brutal. Like, Zaun, he pulled his weight here. He 2-0'd Cure, then he did 1-1 against a Laser, so he knocked down both top players of Team Liquid. Ryung, of course, we're getting all the flashbacks. Ryung, he takes down Clem, they knock each other out, and then Maru takes down Cure in that final game. Cure, he was revived to play against Maru in that TVT. And in a longer series, I favor Cure against Maru, but this was a best of one essentially, right? It was only one game, and it was in StarCraft Evolution, not in StarCraft 2. So here, Maru does win it all for Onside. GG. GG, well played. Congratulations, Onside. They're going to be this season's CranKy champions. Congratulations. And it was just a lot of fun seeing this kind of team league format again, seeing the banter between the players, seeing the teams unite and work together. It's been a very, very long time since we've had WTL, so long since we've had a team league. So great to see all these players working together and not even just working together to practice, but also to actually play and learn SC Evo, because a lot of players were very unfamiliar with the game as well. So it was really cool to see that kind of evolution from these players and even from the meta as well. Really cool to see. I hope that Chijik enjoyed the broadcast. I hope that Crank was satisfied with it as well. I know that there was a lot of stress behind the scenes about organizing and running the events and making sure it ran as smoothly as possible. I know that Crank was collaborating with a lot of other casters and organizers and streamers as well, even when it comes to casting, when it comes to broadcasting on Chijik. Again, Chijik, they're the main sponsors of the events. It was live casted, live streamed on Chijik as well. So, yeah, it was definitely a lot of work, a lot of efforts, and I would say led to some really good games and some really good series. Like, this has been honestly a lot more enjoyable than current SE2 meta has been the CranKy. Specifically because of that team league aspect, though. The SE Evolution it's fun for what it is, but like the team league aspect and seeing all these players face off here in a new setting was a lot of fun. It was a breath of fresh air. So GG well played here to Onside for claiming that win. Meanwhile, Patches, we spoke about his circuit earlier, but Patches, the Patch Clash number 9, did conclude here, or did take place this week as well. And we had some newer faces here. Again, because there's so much more prize money, $600 prize pool, by the way. That is bigger than the regular weeklies. That's bigger than the Water TV Monday. That's bigger than the Monday weeklies, than our weeklies as well. Like a huge prize pool here, thanks to, I'd imagine, the collaboration, of course, with Death. But yeah, it's bringing together a bigger crowd. We had Raynor competing for the first time. We had Hero competing. We had Björn. We had Solar. We had some big names. Classic, he played as well. Oh my god, Classic, he also competed. So we're getting a lot of attention. A lot of attention here to the patch mod. Raynor takes down Teardrop 2-0, takes down Classic 2-0, takes down G Machine 2-0, does fall to Björn. Björn having his own strong run, taking down Fiant, Solar, and Raynor. And then we had the rematch in the grand finals. Björn took down Raynor 2-1 in the upper bracket finals and takes him down 4-3 in the grand finals. GG, well played. Huge win here for Björn. Raynor, he's typically favored over Björn, but again, it's a quirky mod. Like it's very, very different. It's very unique, of course, actively being worked upon, and congratulations to Björn for claiming the win. GG. GG, well played. That leads us into the Patches Monday number 1. This is the first event of the new circuit, of course, the first event, and we saw some similar names here. We saw Björn competing once again, the previous champion. Lambo showing up this time. Oh, okay, we had Lambo as well. No Raynor this time, no Hero, no Classic, so some less Korean representation, but we had Lambo there waving that European flag. Björn takes down Shameless 2-0, takes down Lambo in the upper bracket finals, and takes him down in the rematch in the grand finals as well. Back-to-back wins here. Björn winning over Raynor and winning over Lambo. GG. GG, well played. Again, the circuit has begun. Best of luck to Patches and all that's involved when it comes to running that circuit. Best of luck. And also working on the mod itself. True. That leads us into the... I almost said the All Things Protoss. That leads us to the Amateur League Weekly. The Amateur League Weeklies of the week, number 168. Have our new weeklies. Up first, we have Split. So Split takes down Scorpion 2-0, takes down Sugarcoat the second 2-1, takes down Happy T-Kid 2-1, and then we get the rematch in the grand finals. Happy T-Kid brings him down 3-1. Again, he's also a player that competed in this week's Tuna Cup, if I recall correctly. But big win here for Happy T-Kid, as he's a player that I'm very unfamiliar with. I have not seen them or noticed them in the bracket before, so really cool to see them coming out swinging and claiming the win. GG. GG will play it again. This was for the Veteran Edition. I assume there was no... Were there no signups for the bronze to... No. Oh, that's surprising. Like, there's usually like a good amount of players there, but...
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, lately the Bronze Platinum Edition has been getting less players, yeah.
Yeah. Specifically in recent, like, maybe the last month?
In the last few weeks, like, there's been less people, because as you said before, there was like a decent bracket every time, but like literally recently it's been a bit more difficult.
Yeah, it might be because of the new bracket site that might have impacted signups. It might be tournament start times. Hard to say exactly. We're not as ingrained into that scene.
Yeah, I always say that, like, when running amateur tournaments, like, reaching the lower leagues is always like the most difficult in terms of like just promoting the tournament, because usually the people who actually like follow the tournaments and are looking to play are like diamonds and above. Like, it's more rare to find the lower leagues that are like going out of their way looking for tournaments, you know.
Yeah, it's also possible, and I don't want to like speculate too much, just because it's hard to know exactly. There's a lot of things that are happening. As we mentioned, we have seen less signups in recent weeks, but there's been a lot happening in recent weeks, right? Like, there's been the new website change. That's one thing. Another thing, of course, the patches. We've been getting a lot of patches, a lot of balance changes as well, and that might also be impacting players' interest in the game as well. But it's hard to come to those conclusions just because there are other factors at play as well.
Yeah.
But like, it is definitely noticeable that we have been seeing, as opposed to like the regular high sign up rate that we would often see for some of these events, like we have been seeing less, specifically for the Amateur League Weeklies.
Yeah, and I also want to say that it may not even be like, oh, you know, like they hit the patch or something, but like just because those
You have to
would be
relearn
like,
so much.
yeah, they have to just learn so much, and those would probably like be like the more casual players or like the beginners and stuff. So like they don't it's possible that they don't have the time to invest into like learning all these new things. So like it takes time before there are more players again.
Yeah, it's hard to say with too much certainty here. All we can say though is we have noticed less signups for the Amateur League Weekly. So hopefully they're able to bring that back up again. Hopefully they're able to tap into like a wider array of players again. I mean, there are some new players that are popping up there. Like as I mentioned, like Happy T Kid, I didn't notice previously. Didn't notice him previously. So congrats.
Yeah, I think I first saw that name like a month ago, maybe. Our system is saying it's also a big lack of Protoss players apparently.
Yeah, maybe. Specifically for this bracket, sure. As you can, I mean, now you can see the races of these players. Up next, we did have the All Things Protoss Prestige Edition, which is for Diamond 1 to Masters 2. Here we had Zigger.
Wait, you called it All Things Protoss again.
Oh, God, I see the letters ALT. I think All Things Protoss.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Think of the
You're
ATL. You just rearrange the letters. Bam, there it is. We do have Zigger. Zigger takes down Boreal 2-1, takes down Beast 2-1 as well. Before falling to Beast in the grand final. Speaking of Protoss, Beast, he is a regular when it comes to these events, but it does go all the way to the ace match. So Beast and Zigger, they do go all the way to game 5, and Beast is going to be this week's All Things Protoss champion. I said it again. Amateur League Weekly. God damn it. Amateur League Weekly champion. Congratulations. As he is Protoss. True. He is Protoss.
Do not worry, we will get to All Things Protoss.
Oh, no. I'm not ready. Congratulations to Beast. That leads us into the Elite Edition where we did have a walkover win with Ilya. Ilya does get a walkover win in this event, but this is normal. We were talking about the low signups for some of the other ranges, and that is true, but they've never been high signups for the Elite Edition. So Ilya does walk away with that win. Congratulations to Ilya. Signing.
Yeah, as every time, as a reminder why this would be so solid the signups in the higher league. There is no prize pool for this tournament for the weekly, but it does grant points, and then the people who accumulated enough points are invited to the season finals, which does have a prize pool.
Yeah, pro players don't consider it worth it to play in events that don't have a prize pool to eventually make it to an event that does have a prize pool. Like they just don't consider it worth their time, unfortunately. Every now and then you have like a Nicorect that just gets a walkover win, or like an Azura getting their walkover win, and then they do play like in that final like monthly or seasonal event. But yeah, for the most part, it's just very rare to see any pro players competing in that league range, which is a bit of a shame for sure. It is a shame, but it's there for them if they ever do want to face off. Up next, we do have the Magic Up Masters Cup, number 121. Again, as I mentioned before, this event has been on a very long hiatus. Recently did return this year after so long. So great to see once again. This is a sister tournament to the Masters 1 Open, of course, run by a lot of our regulars back in the day as well, like Papa Panda, like Xenodactyl as well, Captain Canuck, Little Mac. A lot of people behind the scenes working this event. It is at a much more NA friendly time when it comes to the tournament itself. So much more NA friendly, which explains some of the more NA representation in this event as well. When it comes to the event itself, it is for, I believe, 4.9k and below. Let me just double check. I think it's slightly higher than the MSO. Yep, 4.9. So 4.9k and below. So around M1 and below. From here, we do see Kaiboy. Kaiboy, he takes down Xenodactyl 2-0, takes on Steez 2-1, and takes on Storm 2-1 in the upper bracket finals. Again, it was double elimination this week or this month, and Storm, it does fight back, but he does go down 3-0 to Kaiboy. GG all play. Congratulations here to Kaiboy. Does claim the win. Is going to be this month's Magic Up Masters Cup number 121 champion. GG all play. Congratulations here to Kaiboy. Again, a lot of regulars here. I see Matrix, Mantega was also competing. Xenodactyl, Patches, his mod was featured earlier. He also competed in this event as well. Really cool to see. And again, I believe they're slated to host a couple more of these throughout the course of the year. So look forward to them. Especially if you're in this league range, if you want to compete in a tournament, but if Masters 1 Open, for example, is at a bad time for you, this might be at a better time. The Magic Up Masters. Do check it out. Up next, we do have the All Things. There it is. The All Things Protoss Team League Season 5 has been underway. The group stage has concluded, I believe. Yes, the group stage has now concluded. Week 5 did wrap up. Coming into this for week 5, we did have a team. There is no A in Crimpus go up against Huevos 6-5 in favor of There Is No A in Crimpus. We had Azura and Rake tied 1-1. We had Patches. He went down to Mixu 2-0. Neo took down Akedon took down Neo 2-0. Anticore took down Trans 2-0. We had Iberi fight back against Crimpus, the man himself. And then we had the final game. Azura takes down Mixu 1-0 in that ace match. GG, well played. Crimpus, they do claim the win over the Weebers. Goddamn Weebs. Up next, we did have a V for Vitamin Deficiency up against Pink Hair Star Maids. In the end, the Vitamin Deficient team, they might be deficient in vitamins.
It's still one of my favorite names. Like it's just
great name. It's beautiful. It's amazing. Go touch some grass and get out in the sun, you animals. Aye. Of course, Gemini's on this team. It makes sense. We had Inexorable and Sealy May. They do tie 1-1. We had Defi take down Hackers top 2-0. We had Gemini take down Dincommon 2-0 as well. Big win there for Gemini. Haroku fights back against Xenodactyl. We featured Xenodactyl earlier in the Magic Up tournament, but Haroku takes him down 2-0. And then we had Revo and Zirija 1-1 as well in the end. Again, in favor of the Vitamin Deficient team. GG well played. They do claim the win 6-5 over their opponents. Heading on over to Group B, we had the Goobers Unchained. They were unchained, but despite that, they did not win that final game here, that final series. They went up against Sourdough Caliphate. The Sourdough Caliphate, they take him down 6-5. Jesus, also went to the ace match here. Fiant takes down Sebestis 2-0. We had Jackie and Regal and Regal tie 1-1. We had Lelix take down Lilypad 2-0. We had Waffles take down Gothor 2-0. We did have Echo Soldier fall to Tolo. And in the end, Lelix takes down Fiant 1-0 in the ace match. GG, well played. A big win there for Fiant. Big win there for Lelix, I meant to say, over Fiant in that ace match. Congratulations here to Lelix. Of course, they were both off racing. Fiant's main race is Zerg. Lelix's main race is Protoss. They did switch races, of course, for that final ace match. Yeah. I say switch races. In general, a lot of the pro players do play off races for this event just because there is an MMR restriction. So they do often play their off race. You noticed that earlier.
I believe Azura mentioned it's like 6k and above or something like that. They play off race, basically.
Yeah. Then we had a Zero Aggression up against Karatsuke Aranje. I just want to say Karage Chicken every time. But Zero Aggression, they do win 8-2. A big win there for Zero Aggression. Unfortunately, no specifics when it comes to the matches themselves. Looks like it was not streamed. Was not revealed, so we don't know the exact details of that match, unfortunately. For nada, the All Things Protoss admins for not updating the Wikipedia page. Shaking my head. In the end, though, we do have the final results. So in Group A, Pink Hair Star Maids and the Vitamin Deficient team, they might have won that final series, but no, they would not make it through the group. It was very close. So you can see here that they barely did not clutch it out with one map loss. They were tied at 20 wins and 20 losses, and Huevos with 21 wins and 20 losses barely clutch it out. That's literally one map. That's crazy. One map win over the Vitamin Deficient team. And with that, the Weebs, even though they lost against Vitamin Deficient, they still make it through. that make it into playoffs. Alongside, there is no A in Crimpus and the South Magyars. When it comes to Group B, Goobers Unchained and Karage Chicken, they will not be making it through. They do get knocked out of Group B. Instead, we have Sourdough Caliphate, the Cannon Council, and Zero Aggressive Options. They do make it through Group B into those playoffs. The playoff bracket is yet to be seeded. We're going to be having seeding matches up next. That'll be next week into the playoffs themselves. So best of luck to all the teams. Best of luck to all the seeding matches. I don't have a favorite team, I'll be honest. There's some fun team names, but a lot of them are out. You know, the Vitamin Deficients, they're out. The Goobers are out as well. You know, who do we cheer for? Who can make it through?
I feel like I have to cheer for the Sourdough Caliphate, right? Because I like bread.
I have to. Yeah. For sure. Not bad. Checking the other teams. Do I have any biases here? Azura's in there. Is no A in Crimpus. Who's in the Cannon Council? I remember seeing a lot of Cannon Council games and they did not Cannon Rush. I was very disappointed.
I know, right?
Very disappointed. There's only one team I can cheer for. True. Zero Aggressive Options with Lorimbo as the captain, Papi. Oh my god. I have to. What? I have no choice. Este Lorimbo. Ay. So best of luck. Best of luck to all the teams, of course, in the playoffs, in the All Things Team League Season 5 event. Best of luck. Best of luck in the playoffs. That leads us into regional events and show matches. Up first, of course, is going to be Malekos. Malekos, he did host his, of course, Replay League Season 15 League Division 1, I should say, Division 1. Here we have some players that we have been taking notice of in recent big events. If you recall the big collaboration event with Insane Master Killers, with Malekos and with some of these other teams, we did take note of Dronehard and Winkle. They were looking very good in those events. Here we do see the Germans, they face off here. Again, these are up-and-coming German players. A lot of them are GM, but, you know, they're not quite at that, 6K level. I feel like some of these players are around, 5.8. I want to say, around 5.8. If I'm not mistaken. Actually, hold on, I can just look it up. But in the end, we had a Bingo King. I have no idea who that is. Comes out in first place. I believe this is round robin. Yeah, in the round robin group. Followed by Winkle, followed by Frisk, and soon Dronehard in fifth place, and Timo in sixth place as well. Bingo King is, my assumption was around 5.8, 5.7. Close enough. Yeah, 5.7. It's around 5.7K. Just trying to get an idea. Winkle did peak at 6K, to be fair, but also hovering around, 5.5, 5.6. Yeah. So again, this is still GM level, but still, still not quite able to break into that upper scene. But they've been putting a lot of work. They've been very active. They've been active enough that I've noticed them in some of these tournaments, some of these brackets. And really cool to see them face off in the playoffs. Here we had Frisk. Frisk gets a walkover win over soon. Winkle takes down Frisk 3-0, and then Winkle takes down a Bingo King 3-1 in the grand finals. Winkle does claim the win. GG, well played. Impressive play there by Winkle. And again, shout out to Malekos for supporting the up-and-coming German scene. Up next, we did have Vortex, of course, the big Hungarian event that's going to be happening in Budapest. Still has yet to occur, but we do have now. Oh, sorry, I said it has yet to occur. The group stage has been updated. We have gone through Group B. Now, I believe the playoffs are going to be held offline. The playoffs are offline, but the group stage is online. So this is the big event happening in Hungary. It's been a long year for them, hosting the Pro Series, hosting the endgame events, the qualifiers. Just a big event happening in Budapest. The group stage, Group B at least, has concluded. We had PSG, who's one of the favorites to win the event, and Freeman. They did advance on out of Group B in first and second place. Mosten and Milka are out of the event. Meanwhile, Group A has yet to take place. That'll be taking place in 3 days' time. 3 days' time, it's going to be Nihed, Robbie G, Order, and Panda. Obviously, Nihed, in my eyes, is going to be favored in that group. In second place, hard to say who exactly will make it through. I'm hoping Panda does well for himself, of course. And we'll see if we can stop the PSG versus Nihed finals. I feel like those are the two top players in Hungary. They face off very often in these events. But again, it's going to be happening offline. That's what's important. And really cool to see the Hungarian scene rally together, host an event like this for themselves, of course, and to have that event happen in Budapest. So wishing the best when it comes to those playoffs. Wishing the best. GG will play. Congratulations to PSE and to Freeman. Up next, we did have the StarCraft 2 Weekly Open Tournament 2026 Season 2 Number 6. This is the weekly open tournament for the Chinese region, sponsored by Thunderfire.
Right. You forgot Amantis.
Oh. It's because I already opened it earlier. Yeah. So before I get ahead of myself, Mantis comes up next. It's been a while. It's been a couple of months. Hold on. What was the distance, the time between Amantis and Amantis? This did conclude here end of August. Last one was in July, so we skipped July. Yeah, we skipped July. Kind of, I guess. I mean, this is kind of July, but it feels like a lot has occurred between these events. But congratulations to Master. Master takes down Mantega 2-0, takes down Inexorable 3-2 in the upper bracket finals. And I was expecting a rematch, but no. Kamikaze. He takes down Inexorable 3-2. Big win there for Kamikaze. Very impressive play. His TVT has been improving. I mean, his play just has been improving quite immensely as of late. But he does fall to Master in those finals. I would typically say those that can threaten Master are Inexorable and Eric. Eric did not compete. Inexorable did force Master the ace match initially, and I feel like could have posed a big threat in the finals, but he was denied that due to that TVT. TVT right now is in a very aggressive state, so in that aggression, I do favor Kamikaze. Kamikaze can be a very cheesy, very aggressive player, and with that, he takes down Inexorable, does fall to Master, but a good run nonetheless for Kamikaze. Solid run. GG well played, as Master does come out on top. Then that does lead us into our StarCraft 2 Weekly Opening Tournament, 2026 Season 2, Number 6. This is a Chinese weekly sponsored by Thunderfire. Massive prize pool, of course, 500 USD on the line, and we typically expect to see Lemon, Silky, or Cyan. That's who I expect to win these events. Big sign-up list here as well. Cyan does not make it to the finals, though. Oriana takes on Cyan in the semis. That's a huge win for Oriana, and Oriana falls to Millennium Fox. Bearing in mind, I think this is the latest event on the new patch, of course. There hasn't been too many of these on the new patch. But Millennium Fox takes down Lemon as well. And, whoa, is that Silky? Hold on. I keep mixing up Silky and Nanyu in the, when it comes to their Chinese letters, because they're both, like, short names. Yeah, that is. Yo, he beats everyone. So hold on. So Millennium Fox, Lemon, he's the best Protoss player in this tournament. He's the best Protoss. He beats Lemon 2-1. Silky is the best Zerg player in this bracket. He beats Silky 2-0, and then he takes down Oriana in those finals. That is an insane run here by Millennium Fox. He takes down all the top players. The only player that you could have asked him to have beaten here outside of Lemon and Silky would have been Cyan. Would have been Cyan in the finals. But hey, he got knocked out by Oriana. He got knocked out by Oriana as well. So that's a huge win for Millennium Fox. GG, well played. Again, he's a very young player. He's been improving a lot over the past year. We always praise him when it comes to these Chinese events. We always do give him a lot of notice as well, and this is a huge win for him, just because it was not an easy run. I believe he also beat Sarah Kerrigan in the quarterfinals. So GG well played, a big win here for Millennium Fox. But also, I don't want to undercut Oriana, because Oriana, to defeat Cyan, was also a huge win as well. So GG well played. Millennium Fox does take the win over Oriana, and I believe this is the first time that Millennium Fox has won a StarCraft Weekly Open Tournament. So GG well played, big win for Millennium Fox. And in the bronze match, Cyan gets a walkover win over Silky, as Silky did not compete. Up next, we have the Legacy of Japan. This is the weekly Japanese tournament, and this is where we are ready for the Tapioca. And there he is. Esteban Papi takes down Jacko 2-0, takes down Crimson 2-0, takes down Psyarch in the grand finals 2-0 as well. Again, Tapioca, he is the best player in all of Japan, and he is a very common sight here to win these events. We have seen him fall before to Akira, to Psyarch, to Vaisavanya as well, but it is rare to see that sight. Rare to see him. GG, well played. Congratulations to Tapioca. Up next, I'm ready. Okay. What's the format this week?
Wait.
Oh, God.
Before we get there, Bazi's big brain bouts.
Okay, good. It's good though. It's good that we got something before the big one. It's good. Up next is the Big Brain Bouts, number 124. Every single week we do have some show matches, so the weekly show matches here for the Big Brain Bouts. Up first, we did have the fun one, Spirit versus SOS. I think I do like this being the fun one because Piotr has been very MIA. Like Piotr, when was the last time he competed? Let's have a look here. He's one of those players that's really good, but in recent months, basically almost since EWC, Piotr has not really been competing much. Like what brought Piotr back was the 2v2 league, if you remember, the thermal 2v2 league. Like he was competing in that, and that's kind of it. Like we didn't really see much from him. So just double checking. Yep. if you look at his Wikipedia page, Piotr, he played in March, Thermal 2v2 League, April, Thermal 2v2 League, mid-April, Bass's Big Brain Bouts. So he was just invited for a show match. Then Thermal, Big Brain Bouts, Thermal, Big Brain Bouts. That's what he plays. Does not play in Open Cups, does not play in Wardy events, doesn't play in SC Evo, even though there was a time where he was the best player in SC Evo, like last year, right? Like there was a period in time where, 2 years ago at this point, 2024 coming into 2025, where he was the best player in StarCraft Evolution. But Spirit, he barely plays anymore. He's one of those players that it feels like he's like pseudo-retired, where he's clearly just spending his time elsewhere right now. Hard to say what exactly, whether he's studying, whether he's working, but he's very much so a part-time player at the moment. So it is impressive to see him take down SOS, right? Despite how out of shape and just how little Spirit competes, he does take down SOS 3-0 in the best of 5. So a big win there for Spirit. Great to see him play in something, because he has not played in anything in quite some time. Cool to see. To be fair, I say he's been spending time doing other things. I believe Spirit is working with DNS, right? He's working with DNS, and he's a coach now. He's coaching players. I don't know how much time that takes up. I don't know how much time is dedicated to that. But I believe it's DNS, Spirit, and Laser, if not mistaken. I believe those are the three that work together when it comes to the coaching services that they provide. So it's very possible that he has been dedicating everything to coaching players, and that helps keep him in shape at least. Hard to say, but GG will play the Spirit. Up next is the good one. Here we had GG Machine versus Percival. I do like this. When I think of this level of play, I think of GG Machine, I think of Percival, I think of Shameless, I think of Christiana, I think of Geralt. Like a lot of these guys are around the same skill level here. So I do like this. Young Yakov is the other one that I think of. True. Worth at this level. I would say these two are comparable to each other. I mean, hey, we just saw in the previous event, Percival, who did he beat in the Wardy tournament? Solar. Like Percival, his TVZ is looking pretty sharp when it comes to certain aspects of it, of course, to defeat Solar. So to fall to GG Machine, like this is a big win for the Machine. It's a big win for the Machine. GG well played. A very impressive performance. Takes down Percival 3-1. Then we had the Basilisk one, Cyril versus Max Pax. Max Pax, kind of like Spirit, is also one of those players that has been very inactive as of late. Max Pax, he used to be the most active Protoss player out there 2 years ago. 2 years ago, he was playing in everything, but starting this year, Max Pax hasn't really been playing in much. I would imagine, I say this year, this patch. Do I want to say this year? He was more active at the start of the year. but he has been taking a step back. And this has nothing to do with the EWC circuit for Max Packs, because he never played in the circuit, right? Like, he didn't go to offline events. He was always an online boy, but in online tournaments, he's been very inactive as of late. So, yeah, it's cool to see him compete here, of course, but yeah, he has, like, previously you could make an argument that Max Packs is like the best pro in the world, or at least top 2. Right now, like, he is below Classic and Hero, like, quite handedly. But a big reason for that is because he has not been playing much. He has been taking more of a step back than he used to, as of course previously he'd played everything he could. So GG well played. Seraldus claimed the win over Max Max. GG. Up next. Up next, we do have our we have our Shopify Rebellion Sundays number 10, Division C. Ay. So here we go. We do have our initial show match. So I believe we're back to the format where the winner stays on until next week and the loser is knocked out. So we have a best of 5 between Mixu and Ledlix. Mixu, who's been playing a lot of Terran as of late, does take down Ledlix 3-0 to win the Division C show match. That leads us into Division B. We had a best of 5 between the Laser and Nightmare. Laser takes down Nightmare 3-0 as well. This was a little bit more one-sided. Nightmare also less of an active player nowadays, so there was a bit of a lopsided series here, but Laser does bring it down 3-0. That leads us into the Division A main event, a best of 5 between Max Pax and Lambo. We just saw Max Pax go down to Cyril, but hey, here he's in shape enough to take down Lambo 3-0. So GG well played, big win here for Max Pax, and really cool to see more of him. I was just talking about how Max Pax hasn't really been playing in much, but he was invited to the Bassus show match, and hey, he was invited to the Shopify show match as well. So these show matches, they're still keeping him on, and he does take down Lambo 3-0, so big win for Max Max. GG well played. I still not entirely certain as to how this works. I mean, we can see here that winning 3 weeks in a row qualifies for a high division. So I believe these winning players will stay on and until they get knocked out. And if they stay on further, that leads us into that battle royale. If you remember, there was like a Shin battle royale like last week where he played against like 5 players or something. Like some nonsense like that. Yeah, so we'll see. As it does lead us into our weeklies. Into our next show match, into a show match series that has become a little bit more regular. Like Inu, he doesn't really run these on a regular basis, but specifically this year and these past couple of weeks and months, Inu has been hosting these on a much more regular basis. He's been changing the format from week to week, kind of like GSL-CK, but he does change that format. And here we did have our quarterfinals. So it was an 8-player invitational. Classic, Nightmare and Zaun for Protoss, Bjorn, Clem, Kieran, and Percival for Terran, and Rogue for Zerg. Interesting invites, I would say. I feel like it feels weird to invite Clem. Like I feel like we've invited the best Terrans, like Clem, Bjorn, and Cure. Like you don't get better than that. Maru doesn't play in these kind of events, so you're missing Maru, but that's it. So you have the best Terrans in the world. You've got Classic for Protoss, but no Hero. That's what catches me off guard. And for Zerg, you've got just Rogue. So it's a very interesting lineup here. Very interesting. Very Terran heavy. Very, very Terran heavy. When it comes to the matches themselves, Percival takes down Zaun 3-0. Cure takes down Rogue 3-1. We then have a TVT between Percival and Cure. Likewise, scrolling down, we have Classic. He takes down Beyond 3-2. That was a very close series, by the way. Very close series. Classic barely does win it out. Clem takes down Nightmare 3-1. We then have the semifinals. That'll be tonight, I believe. Yes, that's currently being played out. We have Percival versus Kieran in the TVT. We have Classic versus Clem in the PVT. I would say based on Classic's struggle against Bjorn, I do favor Clem over Classic in this, and it looks like a TVT finals, but we also got a very Terran heavy lineup in this event. So we'll see if Classic can stop that TVT finals. We'll see. So I'll be cheering for Classic when it comes to diversity in the finals, but otherwise we're expecting Cure versus Clem and TVT. Percival has been improving a lot in Terran versus Terran, but Cure has some of the best TVT in the world, some of the best. So it's not an easy opponent. Best of luck. Best of luck to Percival. That leads us into our OSC events. Our OSC events here for the week. We do have first up the OSC Rising Star number 20, which has been progressing. I believe Dave did cover these matches this week. Up first, we had Moja. We had Moja take down Sebestis 2-1. We had Moja take down Arch at 2-0 as well. So Moja, he does advance on to the upper bracket finals. Big win there for Moja taking down Arch. Meanwhile, we do have the lower brackets still yet to be played out. Ginger Machine takes down Minizerg. UD Soldier takes down Jumi as well. Jumi has been playing less StarCraft as of late, so yeah, I would say a bit of an underperformance there by Jumi, but no, those matches have been very aggressive and very intense. Lower bracket has also been progressing as well. Un momento. Yeah, lower bracket has been progressing. We did have Shino. Shino takes down Homono. That's a huge win, by the way. So Shino takes down Homono 2-1 to advance on to the next round. Arc Fire, he knocks out Inexorable. Bay Marine knocks out Hatsu. Hydra over Defiance. And Milky Cow over Middle VK. So again, the bracket has been progressing. And again, this event typically takes like around 3 months to conclude. We are slowly working our way through the events. And yeah, I mean, I would say that Moja's been looking very surprising. Very, very surprisingly good in this event. He took down Shameless, Sebestis, and Art. Art was the runner-up. Shameless was the champion. He beat both top players from the last season. Like, can he be stopped? I think Ginger Machine is the only one that can. Like, he's the next top player. He's the best Zerg player in the tournament. If he can't stop Moja, no one can. Like, Moja's at least looking untouchable in TVP, at least. So, huge wins here for Moja, making a lot of waves here in the OSC. So eyes are on Moja 100%. Up next, we have the OSC mid-season playoffs. Has also been progressing. We spoke about Max Pax earlier, and this is an event that he is playing in. Max Pax takes down Cure 3-2 to advance on to the grand finals. He is in the grand finals here, waiting for the winner of Solar, Lambo, Bjorn, and Cure. So we do have some Terran and Zerg opponents. We have already knocked out. So Skills goes down to Lambo. Showtime goes down to Percival. That's a huge win for Percival, by the way. That's big. Big win there for Percival. Does fall in the TVT, but regardless, big win there for Percival in the previous round. Best of luck to Lambo. That's going to be a ZVZ rematch from the RSL with Solo versus Lambo in that lower bracket. Coming into this event, who do we favor? I was giving Cure a little praise earlier. Cure did force Max Pax to the ace match. I do think that Cure is going to be Max Pax's biggest threat in this event, but we'll see if they rematch, right? I could see Solar or Beyond stopping him. Lambo is going to be a difficult run, but wishing the best. I know that Lambo has been putting a lot of work as of late, streaming and practicing the new patch, so we'll see. We shall see. I know that Lambo can always look very intense in ZVZ, and he can always threaten these top players, so anything can happen there. We then finally have the OSC King of the Hill. The OSC King of the Hill. Here we do have Fiant and Lulix. They do begin the night off facing off against each other. Remember, this is a King of the Hill style tournament. Best of ones, winner stays on, loser is knocked out. Fiant takes down Lulix. Fiant takes down Homono, 2-game win streak. Azura knocks him down. Short-lived as Jumi knocks down Azura. Nikrak knocks down Jumi. Nikrak, he goes on his own win streak, winning 3 games in a row over Jumi, over Moja, and over Arog Fire as well. So nice win streak there by Nikrak. Bjorn then goes on a tear. Bjorn takes down Nightmare, takes down Mixu, takes down Christiana, takes down Arog Fire again, takes down Percival again. We saw that from the previous OC event. Takes down Max Pax, takes down Shameless, and takes down Mana. Insane win streak as Bjorn takes down everyone and is going to be this week's King of the Hill. GG. GG, well played as Bjorn. He does get 8 wins in a row. Biggest win streak of the week. Biggest win streak here. Congratulations to Bjorn. Does get all 8 wins. That leads us into the weekly Open Cups. Un momento. So let's lead us into the weeklies. And up first, we do have the Kung Fu Cup. Kung Fu Cup number 17. If you recall, this was last week, to be fair. But the last week's PondCast was before Kung Fu Cup, so we couldn't really speak on it. But Kung Fu Cup last week did conclude. Here we had Bjorn. Bjorn, he gets a walkover win over Lambo. Does fall to Shin in the quarterfinal. Sorry. It's a bit of a mistake here on the Wikipedia page. Does fall to Shin in the semifinals. Shin does take down Byun 2-1 to advance on to the grand finals. Hero takes down Nightmare. Hero takes down Percival. Percival did take down Classic earlier. Yo, again, Percival, he gets these big wins every now and then. 2 over Classic, but Hero does bring him down. Then we get the best of 5 between Shin and Hero, and Shin does barely take down Hero 3-2 to become this or last week's Kung Fu Cup champion. GG, well played. Congratulations here to Shin. Does claim the win. That leads us into this week's What Is TV Monday. Oh my god, ZVZ abound. This week's What Is TV Monday here as Rogue. Rogue takes down Byun 2-0, takes down Lambo 2-1, takes down Shin 2-1 as well. Does get his revenge from the previous ZVZ before falling to Solar. Solar, he took down Hero, who took down Max Pax in the first round. We had Solar take down Cure 2-1, and then Solar 3-0 win over Rogue. A lot of ZVZs in this What Is TV Monday. Ay, ay, ay. Congratulations to Solar for claiming the win. I would say a big win for Solar taking down a Cure earlier. Like I would have favored Cure over Solar, so that was a huge win here, defeating him in that ace match in that best of 3. So GG, well played. That leads us into this week's Sparkling Tuna Cup, the STC. Here we did have our own upsets. Classic previously went down to Nicaract. Whoa. Classic's been having a hard time. He's been having a very, very hard time. He goes down to Classic in the What Is TV Monday. Here he goes down to Iba. Fun fact, he didn't even know what he was doing, by the way. Iba had no idea. He was like, Babby, I don't know how to play on the new patch. I have not played StarCraft. So Iba, he was just vibing. He was streaming. He was just kind of playing by feel. He takes down Nightmare 2-1. Very intense back and forth. He takes down Classic 2-0. Crazy upset in the semifinals. Byun takes down Nicaract 2-0, and then we get Byun 3-0 Iba. Iba, afterwards, he did admit, he was like, yo, I don't know what I'm doing. he's like, I'm lost in ZVT right now. And Iba, it was a one-sided series against Byun. But Iba, he did stumble his way over Classic. Impressive play. Very impressive play there by Iba. GG. And again, Classic's been having a hard time recently. Having a harder time. But congratulations to Byun for claiming the win. Fun fact, as this event was happening, Byun, sorry, was it the Inu battle? Was Classic playing against Byun in the Inu battle at the same time? Like the events were overlapping? I believe so. So Classic, he actually beat Byun in the Inu battle event in the show match, and then so we were expecting a rematch here, but did go down to Iba. So maybe Byun wore him down like mentally as well. Like it went all the way to the ace match in the Inu battles between Byun and Classic, but yeah, it did get worn down a little bit, and Iba did take advantage. GG. GG, well played. That leads us into the Big Star Cup. Big Star Cup number 93. This was this week's, of course, Big Star Open Cup. Here we had a Cure. Cure takes down Bunny 2-1, takes down Hero 3-0. That was a fast one as well. I remember that this series started later. We were casting the lower semis, and they finished earlier as well. They started later, they finished earlier. It was a very, very short PVT. Meanwhile, Byun takes down Solar 3-2, went all the way to the ace match. A very intense back and forth there between Byun and Solar. Byun takes on Solar, then we get the best of 5 between Cure and Byun, and Cure takes down Byun 3-2. As I mentioned in the previous TVT coverage, in regards to some of the other tournaments, Cure, I do favor him when it comes to TVT. I think I spoke on this when it comes to the Inu battle. But I do favor him when it comes to TVT, period, regardless if he's against Clem or whoever. So for Byun to bring him to the ace match, it was very impressive. Very impressive. It was very intense, very aggressive, of course, as TVT currently is. Does go the way of Cure, but was not easy. Was not easy. Very close. Very clutch. GG. GG, well played. That leads us into this week's Kung Fu Cup. Kung Fu Cup number 18. This was yesterday's Kung Fu Cup. Here we have Clem. Clem did compete this time. He does take down Percival 2-0 in the quarterfinals. Takes down, he does fall to Cure. And we just spoke about his TVT. Like when we glaze a player, it's for a reason, papi. So Cure takes on Clem in the TVT 2-1 to advance on to the grand finals. Scoring down here, Rogue goes on a tear, takes down Ryung 2-1, takes down Hero 2-1, takes down Byun 2-1, and Rogue does claim the win in the grand finals 3-1 over Cure. GG, well played. Despite the fact that we were missing Shin and Solar this week, Rogue does claim the win, does make his way all the way through. GG. And we spoke about Classic earlier. This is worrisome. Classic, he goes down to Jeshi. Here in the round of 16. I hope Classic is okay. I know he's again he's these have been some really out of character results. So he went down to Jeshi in Kung Fu Cup. He went down to Iba in Tuna Cup, and he went down to Nickrat in the War TV Monday this week. Like Classic went down to no disrespect, but he went down to like some lesser tier players in multiple tournaments this week. Like this, like this was a really rough week for Classic. Like he's usually a much more stable player than Hero, for example. He's usually much more stable. But yeah, Classic, he has been struggling this week. So yeah, with that, hearts out to Classic. Hopefully he can recover and bounce back. Hopefully this doesn't affect him too much. But with that, again, Rogue, he will be this week's Kung Fu Cup champion, and that is our final event for the week. So final event for the week. Again, when it comes to the Kung Fu Cups, they're organized and hosted by SC Boy. SC Boy, they do run the events on a regular weekly basis. We do cover them from time to time, but last week we were unable to. Hopefully we can jump onto some of these matches and see how these games have been panning out. Likewise, if you want to take part in some of these tournaments, the sign-up list is the place to be. ! Sign-up list in the chat to get a link to all these tournaments. You can be a part of this as well. You don't have to be a pro player to compete in the Kung Fu Cup or in Pegasus Cup, or hey, what about the amateur events? Magic Up Masters, or the Amateur League Weeklies, or STC, Sea Duckling Open, Masters 1 Open as well. Plenty of events out there, some of them with mods, like the Patches Patch Clash, or like StarCraft Evolution events, or some of them are for amateur players as well. Some of them are regionals, went over them earlier. If you're in Japan, we have the Legacy Weekly Japan. If you're in China, if you're in Brazil, like for Amantis as well, plenty of events out there. You can take part if you wish. Check out that sign-up list. When it comes to this weekend, we do have the Pig Fest qualifiers. They're going to be this weekend. The RSL broadcast is also going to be this weekend as well. When it comes to our coverage, we are going to be casting the RSL on Saturday and Sunday. We have StarCraft Evolution also tomorrow and Saturday as well. The other big event that's going to be happening, which is not, I think, on the sign-up list, but I'm sure we'll be adding it, is the ISSL. The ISSL, if you recall, is the Into the Inu and Soup collaboration that is going to be tomorrow. We're going to be casting it live on the channel here on Twitch and YouTube and on Soup as well. We are going to be live with that event. Again, that'll be tomorrow evening, so do check it out. Otherwise, if you want to support us, you can do so via Patreon. ! Patreon in the chat. Our Patreon does fund our tournaments on a regular basis. Sea Duckling Open, Sparkling Tunic Cup, Mass 1 Open, all funded via Patreon. So if you want to support us and support the players and support the scene, you can do so there. We did recently lose some support on Patreon, so we have dropped down a tier. But if you want to help us get back up to that goal, of course, and that stretch goal, you can help us out via the Patreon. Can help us out. As with that, we are going to be wrapping up here for the day. Again, tomorrow we're live with SEL and with ISSL. The Inu Soup StarCraft League is going to be tomorrow evening. That's a new open cup that's going to be centralized and focusing on the Korean scene, of course, but open to other players. And again, we'll be live with it tomorrow night. Be there for the ISSL. Otherwise, thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. Again, Pig Fest qualifiers this weekend, RSL this weekend. On the horizon, we still do have the SCL Ladder Invitational, so some more StarCraft Evolutions sprinkled throughout, and all of our regular weekly open cups as well. Otherwise, thanks for watching, thanks for tuning in. Shout out to Kura for handling the production, and we'll see you guys next time. Till then, ciao. Hasta luego. Ciao, papi, ciao. Hasta luego.